At 3 a.m., my Ring app started buzzing, saying there's new activity at my old apartment. I'd moved out 6 months ago after my divorce, but I'd forgotten to disconnect the doorbell camera that I'd installed when Sarah and I first bought the place together. I grabbed my phone expecting to see a raccoon or maybe a package thief, but instead I saw my ex-husband Mark standing on the porch holding a small birthday cake with lit candles. Today was my birthday, and in all the chaos of our separation and me moving across town to start over, I'd completely forgotten about it myself. Mark looked terrible, unshaven, wearing the same faded hoodie he'd lived in for weeks after I left, clearly struggling with our divorce as much as I was despite everything that had happened between us. He set the cake down carefully on the porch table we'd bought together at a garage sale 3 years ago, the one I'd left behind because it wouldn't fit in my tiny new apartment. Through the grainy black and white camera footage, I watched him sit down on our old porch swing and just stare at the cake for several long minutes, lost in thought. Mark pulled out his phone and I could see him typing something, probably a text message, but then he'd delete whatever he'd written and start typing again. This happened 5 or 6 times, him typing messages he couldn't bring himself to send while sitting alone on the porch of the house we used to share as a married couple. Finally, he stood up slowly, made what looked like a silent wish, and blew out all the candles on my birthday cake by himself at 3 a.m. in the dark. My phone buzzed with a text message. "Happy birthday, Emma. I know you probably don't want to hear from me right now, but I couldn't let the day pass without acknowledging it. I left something on the porch. I hope you're doing well in your new place." I threw on shoes over my pajamas and drove across town through empty streets, finding the cake with a handwritten note tucked underneath. "I remembered you always said you wanted to celebrate your birthday at exactly midnight like when you were a kid. I was 3 hours too late, but I tried my best. I miss our old tradition. I miss you." The cake was from Schmidt's Bakery, where we'd gotten our wedding cake 4 years ago, and it was my favorite flavor, lemon with cream cheese frosting, that only Mark remembered I loved because I never ordered it when we went out. I sat on our old porch swing eating birthday cake at 4 a.m. crying because even though our marriage had ended badly, he'd still remembered the little things that had always mattered to me. My phone buzzed with another concerned text. I saw the Ring notification that someone was at the house. "Are you okay? Should I call the police?" I texted back through tears. "It's me sitting on the porch. Thank you for remembering my birthday. The cake is absolutely perfect." Mark's Honda Civic appeared around the corner 5 minutes later, having waited in his car down the street to make sure I was safe before leaving. "I didn't know if you'd want to see me," he said quietly, walking up the familiar sidewalk with his hands in his hoodie pockets. "I didn't know either," I admitted honestly, "but thank you for not forgetting who I am, even after everything we put each other through." We talked for 2 hours on that porch swing, not about getting back together or fixing our broken marriage, but about forgiveness, healing, and learning to be kind to each other despite our failed relationship. Mark told me he'd been seeing a therapist and working on himself, and I shared that I'd been doing the same in my new apartment across town. Sometimes the end of romantic love doesn't mean the end of caring deeply about someone's happiness and well-being in the world.